Excel Highway, your one-stop shop for all your Excel needs. In today's video, I want to share with you a ROI estimator built for the real estate business. If you're looking to build your very own custom-fitted ROI estimator, stick around, and I will show you how to do it step by step. This file can match any business need, not only the real estate business. You need to fine-tune it, of course, for your exact needs. Follow along and learn how to do it easily. Before I jump into the details, if you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel, smashing that subscribe button below, as to not miss new content. Appreciate your support. This estimator includes 4 main sheets to start with. The dashboard, which you're seeing. The sheet will summarize all the data from your ROI projects. Master sheet. This sheet is your template for a ROI project. Lists. This sheet holds drop-down lists and backend functions to support the dashboard. Cost estimation. This sheets hold predetermined costs you can use to speed things up. Let's dive into each sheet's functionality. List sheets. Let's start with that one. So columns A through E are built to support the dashboard layout. This part will build the list of sheets that need to be included in the dashboard. To achieve this, we need to follow a few simple steps. Step number 1, set up a named range for all sheets. We do this by going to Formula, Name Manager, New, call that sheet names for example, and we'll change the refers to. Let me show you how it looks. We'll go to edit. So I called it sheet names, and I have the formula, which I don't exactly understand. I picked it up somewhere, but this formula will eventually build all the sheet names. So that's the first step. Step number 2 is to build the actual list. So the first column, you have a number going from 1 to whatever you want. The second column, that's the sheet name itself. Simple function, if error, index sheet names, which is what we had, the name of the ranges, and that number, otherwise blank, and just drag that down. And as you can see in this example, this gives me all the sheets that exist in this file. The last step that I want to add is an ability to exclude certain sheets from the dashboard. You can see it over here, not relevant for dashboard. So I have a list of names that I do not want to include in the dashboard. And then I just ask if there's a match between the name of the sheet and whatever's over here. If it is, I'm giving it a no, using the is error. Otherwise, yes, and of course, if there's nothing here, also leave it blank. So that's why I'm going to exclude these 4 sheets, no matter what the order is. So that's what I need to do to set up the list for the dashboard. On the right, you have 2 examples for drop-down lists set up. I have 2 tables here, type of unit and work item, and their dollar per square root cost estimation. In order to generate a drop-down list, I use a table because it's very dynamic. Anything you change will immediately affect the drop-down list. Setting it up is also very easy. All you need to do is select the range, the full range of the table, and change where you see table 1 to whatever range you want. So for example, I have, you see unit, and it shows me the unit, and the other one I called item, it shows me the item. So by doing that, we can later use that as a simple drop-down list. You can see I also added a dollar per square foot cost estimation. I'm going to use that later on. So that was the list sheet. Let's look at the cost estimation. So the cost estimation is a simple matrix I use for allowing the user to see a fixed cost estimation, which he can take into account or not. And I'm pulling the work items. You can see it's a formula. I'm using unique on the table. So I'm getting all of the work items, no matter if I add one like TES. So it should populate. Yeah, there you go. And just delete the row. And there it's gone. For the housing units, I'm using transpose, again with the unique, just to transpose the sheet so I have a header for the columns. And then I just have a value in K US dollars for each combination. It's a very simple sheet, but it's very helpful to use it this way. Okay, the next sheet is the most complicated sheet. That is the master sheet. In the master sheet, you need to think of it as a template. So each project is going to be a new sheet, and it will be duplicated from the master sheet after you click the Add Project button, which is VBA coded, and we'll get to that later. Now you do need to set up the master sheet however way you want, with the company logo, with the different tables, the different formulas, whatever you set up here, you do it once, and then every time you create a new project, it's just going to duplicate everything, which is very convenient. The way I set it up, you have the blue columns where you input information, and the orange columns, which are formulas that will show you the results. So for example, the type of unit, these are drop-down lists. The work item, also a drop-down list. So to actually build that option, you have to select, and you need to select the entire table. But I'm just going to show you an example. You go to data here, data validation. Usually this will be any value. You got to switch that to list, and source equals unit in this case. That is the drop-down list range that I've used. Same for work item. This is an input in square feet. And then the formulas just calculate the cost estimation. That's the VLOOKUP table from here. And the cost estimation fix, that is using index match to get the information based on the row and the column. Finally, the cost estimation formula here, basically if there's any fixed number, it's going to pull that, otherwise it's going to multiply the square foot times the unit square foot. Estimation override is just something I've added, so if someone wants to override whatever estimation's over here, it will impact the final estimation. Total project cost, that's just the sum of the final estimation. ROI is the future, is the total project cost divided by the monthly future revenue, and the same just for the percentages. We can take a look at just a couple examples I set up here. So the project, for example, called Hilltop, you have the start date, the closing date, and I just filled out some unit types, some work items, and if I needed, I filled out the square foot, and I got some calculations. And for example, this place, this row, I wanted to override the 20 with 24, and eventually I get a project cost and the ROI for each project. So this was how to build the master sheet. Now, the last part of here for the master sheet is the VBA part. The VBA part really helps to speed things up. When you click on the Add Project, it will duplicate the sheet, and it will ask the user for the name of the project. So if I click the button, I get this pop-up message, what do you want to name the project? When I give it a name, it will assign it here, it will assign it as the sheet name, and it will also appear here in the dashboard already. If I click on delete project, it will give me this pop-up message, are you sure you want to delete? Deletes it and takes it out of the dashboard list. So how does it work? Let's take a look at the two VBA codes. They are very simple actually. So the first one, the new project. First of all, I don't want to see alerts because when I'm duplicating the sheet, it will give me an alert for name ranges and all of those things. I just don't want to see them. It just stops the running of the code. I'm just going to copy the sheet called master sheet, and I'm going to ask the user using the input box the name of the range. Then I'm going to assign cell B2 where the project is listed as the new name, and also the sheet itself. Then this line will force this area over here to recalculate everything which is needed, and then I'm bringing back the display alerts. For the delete project, again I'm asking the user, are you sure you want to delete? And if he selects no, then I'm exiting. If he's selecting yes, I'm continuing. I've added this so you cannot delete the master sheet. So if the master sheet is your active sheet, then I don't want you to be able to delete it. I delete the active sheet, select master sheet, and again rebuild the formulas. So that's very simple code, but very effective to ease your work. The last VBA code that exists in the master sheet is in the backend. So if you right click on the view code, have a very simple function that whenever you change the value in the cell B2, it changes the name of the sheet. That's very helpful because if you created something and now you want to change the project name to Sunnyvale 2, I want the sheet to change, and also I want this to change and everything to work. So that's why I built that code. So that's the whole VBA part here. It's very simple but very effective. The last sheet here is the dashboard itself. So the dashboard, it takes the list of sheets from here, and this here is where I'm using the yes or no for the relevant. So you can see I'm filtering lists B for list C equal yes. Then I have all of these. I'm checking if the length of A5 is greater than 0, meaning I have something here. And if so, I am just using indirect, which is a very nice function. So I'm using indirect to access the sheet called Hilltop or whatever's over here. And I'm using offset to just move spaces to get to here. So when I get to the start, all of these cells, it's just a very easy way to write a function using offset and the column number. So I just drag it and I don't need to change anything. It's the same formula. So that's the dashboard. This is the ROI Estimator. I hope you enjoyed the content and you want to build this. Please subscribe, hit that like button and share, and I will see you next time.